Welcome back to Minecraft Create. Last time, I built probably the biggest, most over-decorated birch farm in Minecraft. However, while making this structure, I had one reoccurring issue. One so bad, in fact, that it is still haunting the build. That issue is, of course, a severe lack of iron. That's right, I was having such bad iron issues that there are still a few hoppers missing from this build because I just didn't have enough iron to make them. So today, I'm going to try and solve that issue while also feeding into my sudden interest in large stone obelisks by making a large iron farm tower at 0, as a start to this creature's outpost. Yep, that one. That one right there. But, as with all projects, we have work to do before we can start building. The first step to this project is making a base for it to sit on. And of course, that's going to be made out of stone. So, the quickest way to get the materials when the material is stone is of course a giant drill. So, grabbing a bunch of drills and chassis that I had from drilling out the area for the birch farm, I made these square drills and pushed them forward with a mechanical piston. The first drill makes a big area, which I used to make an even bigger drill, because one 8x8 grid of drills wasn't enough, and a few hundred blocks of distance later, well, that is a big tunnel. And a lot of neat resources. Neat. Now, cooking the required 13,824 stone required for the base may sound bad, but using the create mod I can just shove that stone in front of this stream of hot air, which causes it to smooth out, and boom! 13,824 stone in a bag. Man, I love these bags. Very handy. Then, with the stone collected, I take the long walk to 0 and set up another drill. I need to level the top of this hill as this is where the iron farm tower is going to be set up. And with a few presses of the drill, I can build the foundation for the structure. After that, I step back to the Great Birch Monolith to make some stuff for schematics. First, double baking some stone, but also getting distracted to make a dispenser, which is slightly painful as I'm missing an unharmed bow, so I actually have to make one. But anyway, double baked stone, 2 logs, 2 iron blocks, and that dispenser makes a schematic cannon. 2 more double baked stone and 3 wooden slabs makes the schematic table, and then some light blue dye and paper to make the blueprint itself. Of course, this blueprint is just a piece of blue paper and doesn't do anything, so I put it in the schematic table to put the design for my iron farm in it. While it does that, I also make a clipboard to, and I quote, make me look more professional. Then, I want to not walk for like 20 minutes to get between my new home and the Great Birchland, so waystone time. To make the 2 waystones, I need 2 of these neat purple rocks, but that requires me to run off and talk to the villagers. When walking there, I for sure do not forget to bring my bag of sticks. Nope, I would never. I'm a professional, as we've established. At the village, I managed to buy the 8 ender pearls I needed, as well as get the spare emeralds required. With the emeralds and ender pearls, I mix those with some amethyst shards and get the cooler purple gem. Using the 2 purple gems, some stone bricks, and also some obsidian I got from over here, I now have 2 waystones. Now, if you're somehow unfamiliar with what waystones are, they're these little monoliths you can make, give a name, and then with them in the world, they act like a fast travel location. I'll be limiting my use of these to important locations where I'm building large structures, I think, but I guess we'll see. But now, with the birch farm having a waystone, I walk back to the plinth for the last time. And placing a waystone there too, I can now move between the 2 with the power of teleportation. This allows my soul to be 30% less damaged during the process coming up, because I still need to collect all the materials for the actual structure. Here at the plinth, I place the schematic, place it in the cannon, and use the clipboard to get my material list. You may ask why I didn't just use my Lightmatica list, which I also have, and the answer is simple. It's because they function better in different directions. Specifically, create schematics don't try and convince me that I need 300 belts when I only need like 6. Meanwhile, Litematica actually knows what a fluid is, so yeah, I kinda need both, but the crate list is a bit more important for material collection. But anyway, now we can run through all the materials required, not including fluid, in alphabetical order. Some of these materials are very easy, some are much harder. For example, andesite funnel is just andesite alloy and cooked kelp. Andesite walls is just andesite, one singular barrel, some basins, just more andesite alloy, that's pretty easy. Then black concrete, much worse. Oh shit, I punched my microphone. My bad. Gotta gather a bunch of sand, crush some coal for the black dye, and fortunately I have the gravel already. But then, with the powder, I gotta put it in front of the wet air to make it real concrete. Then immediately after that, I have black glass. Also kinda whack. More sand, more black dye, more hot air, glass, dark glass. We sure love our glass. But anyway, I guess let's get to the rundown, and I'll be a bit more specific when needed, but otherwise just keep it brief. First, 27 brass funnels. I have to make electron tubes with the quartz and redstone and iron sheets, then mix those with brass and cooked kelp. 1 singular cauldron. That's iron, but it's just one. 126 chests. Already got those. 36 chutes. That's a bunch of iron. Damn. Fortunately, I have plenty from my drill behavior from before, and just have to cook it with the hot air. Turn some into sheets and mix, and chutes done. 21 clutches, not too terrible, just add some andesite casing, shafts, and redstone together. 1 singular cobblestone wall. I'm gonna be honest, I still don't think I've figured out where this thing goes, it just showed up on the material list, and it got used at some point. So I guess it was needed. 75 copycat fence gates is up next, and that's just some andesite alloy. Nope, that's zinc. They just look exactly the same, but they are not the same. After that, 101 copycat walls, which is also zinc. After that, we got 22 crushing wheels, which actually was kind of annoying. I have to set up a grid of autocrafters again, running it off of just some water wheels is very slow, but functional enough to get the job done in like a half an hour. Next is 4 depots, which is just some andesite casings and andesite alloy. 176 encased chain drives, which takes a bunch more iron, but since it's just andesite casing and iron nuggets, it's not too terrible since it's just nuggets. 2 encased fans, 8 iron and some andesite, otherwise unnotable. 140 glass trapdoors, more sand, more hot air, more stonecutter, trapdoors, bad but manageable. 20 gantry carriages, just andesite alloy and wood, 40 gantry shafts, just andesite alloy and redstone, and 127 gearboxes. This made me want to explode a little bit, because it made me make an annoying amount of andesite alloy, but it is what it is, just, you know, more iron. Gotta spend iron to get iron in every world, I suppose. After that, we've got 19 gear shifts, which is just some redstone, andesite casing, and cogs. 53 glowstone, just take that from the supply I got last episode that I didn't use. 1 half-shaft cog, which is easy except to say. And then 82 hoppers, which is a lot of iron. Though, through the power of consolidation, I did manage to get all the hoppers I need. After that, we have 4 item drains. This one takes some copper casing instead of andesite casing, which is new. But other than that, it's just those and some iron bars, so not that big a deal. Then we have 90 item vaults. Okay, now the iron might actually be a problem. I have to actually go down and mine some more, but with how much exposed iron there is in the drill shafts, I got it without too much pain. Staring at the mechanical press actually took longer. Anyway, 30 lamps time. Guess what? More iron. Woe upon me, I guess. After that, 5 large cogwheels, which is easy because I already have those. 20 large half-shaft cogwheels, which is also easy, just wood and andesite. And then 96 large water wheels, which is a lot of wood, but guess what? I have just the thing. Wood. So easy. Next up is 140 linear chassis, which, guess what? I also already have all of those. Very easy. Then, 1 list filter. I just steal some paper and some andesite alloy, which is extra easy. Then we got 23 mechanical belts, which I already had. Next is 140 mechanical drills, which I got those already as well. And then 3 mechanical presses. That is 3 more iron blocks, but otherwise not terribly notable. Then we have 140 polished andesite stairs, which is just andesite, and 32 redstone links, redstone, brass casings, and that's it. After that we have another kinda really annoying one, which is 24 rotation speed controllers. I hate these guys. Reasoning is quite simple. It takes the complicated sheet of gold, and making the complicated sheet of gold is vaguely annoying. And by vaguely, I mean I didn't want to set up proper automation, so I sat here, hand-placing small cog, then large cog, then iron nugget, then small cog, then large cog, then iron nugget, then small cog, then large cog, then iron nugget, and do that 5 times. And if you're lucky, you might get a complex gold sheet. Or you might just not get one of those, because fuck you, that's why. But anyway, it's not too bad otherwise, so I'm done with that, I guess. After that is 125 shafts, which is easy, it's just andesite alloy, and then 11 smart chutes, which sucks again. Mostly because it A, needs iron, which I'm straight out of, and it also takes rose quartz to make the electron tubes, which I'm gay out of. But through the power of divine annoyance and multiple threats from the higher-ups to keep going, I have my chutes. And then I have the exact same issue again, with 20 smart observers. I need more stuff. So I get more stuff, and then sob in the corner wishing I had more iron now instead of later. But I have them, and it wasn't that bad. Allegedly. Immediately after that good fun time is 18,902 stone blocks. This is actually super easy. Yep, the 11 and 20 items before this took like 10 times as long as it took to get the near 19,000 stone. Nice. And keeping on the stone train, we need 1 stone pressure plate, easy, 4,807 stone slabs, easy, and 2,682 stone stairs, easy. And then also some super glue, but I already have that. And goddamn, is that a brass colored create item I see? I'm gonna implode my soul cartridge. Never mind, I've been made aware that this is almost the end, like second to last item, so I guess it's fine. So here we go. I run out, kill some golems, get some iron, go home, make rose quartz, sand it, make it tubular, 11 goddamn comparators I guess, and some brass casings, and boom! 11 threshold switches. Perfect. Then just 16 torches. That wasn't so bad after all, I guess. And here it is. Through the power of bags, all of that fits in this double chest. Just a cool 37,000 blocks, according to middle-of-the-night math mechanic Lucy. So, next of course, I move all the items from the birch line to the outpost at 00. This would be miserable, but through the power of fast travel locations, it actually goes pretty quickly. So, placing all the items in a box next to the schematic cannon, which means I actually need to deal with also hand emptying the bags a little bit so it can actually access them, since it cannot access items out of the bags directly. I look at this like a job well done, but I know damn well that this is not truly finished. See, the schematic cannon is a cannon, so it takes gunpowder to do literally anything. About 1 gunpowder for every 400 blocks though, so not too bad. It just means I need 93 gunpowder, and I have 0. So, of course, I spend some time hunting a bunch of creeps in the middle of the night, extracting the gunpowder from their soul to fuel my gun. Truly a moral win for all. Also yes, I did turn off mob griefing. And no, it was not originally for creepers, it was because Endermen grabbing random blocks make me want to consume God. And creepers not making pockmarks in the land was also just a nice bonus. It takes like 3 or 4 nights of executing the sinners, but with all collected, I can finally activate the cannon and build the farm. Now, you may notice that this is not the style I normally build in, because it isn't. Yonder is a spacefaring folk, so the normal fantasy style would not really make sense. So I tried this build style instead, and I think it's kinda neat. I just need to add more stuff around it later to make it more of a concrete hellscape. But anyway, back to the functionality. This may look finished, but it isn't. For starters, there's just a bunch of dudes loitering on my property, however, I'm just going to ignore them, because they're a threat, and I cannot be bothered to take 300 crossbow bolts to the head. So, anyway, if you recall before the item gathering, I told you that the schematic cannon does not know what a fluid is, and so I'm gonna have to add those all by hand. So, grabbing some buckets from the birch farm place that I should really give a name at some point because saying birch farm location is not an optimal use of my time, I grab some water and head back to the outpost, setting up a maintenance doorway in the wall of this room up here, and putting an infinite water source in the back corner. After that, I run back and forth between the iron tower and this random and very friendly lava pool, stealing its body to feed the tower. 20 buckets of lava later, and that part is done. So next is water, which since I have that infinite source, should be much easier. However, I need like 20 times more water than I did lava, needing 7 buckets of water per bucket of lava in the cobblestone generation area, and then also like a bunch more for all the water wheels. Like 96 water wheels if I recall correctly. I also never break it at all. Nope. No water wheels end up being broken, never was, never will be. But after adding the water and reconnecting the rotation power to the system, it begins to function. And after that, it's bug fixing time. See, this system is set up to put half the iron blocks made in this spot into the chest area, and then the other half into this big storage container thingy in the wall here for mass storage. However, I am an idiot, and did not pay attention enough to realize that the basin does not split 2 ways, and so now I have to modify it. Fortunately, the modification is not too hard. I just have to add a chute and some hoppers leading out of the depot that it does lead on, and have that go to the mass storage area. I don't think this actually splits it evenly, but that's okay, because I said it's okay, and so it is. And in the time it took me to get that to work, I had nearly a whole stack of iron blocks made. So iron issues are no longer an issue, just a matter of time, and or laziness. But anyway, now that's kinda the end of the video. We have a large tower at 0, that makes me as much iron as I could need. In fact, after standing next to the iron farm for an hour, and of course after taking everything else out, it made 240 iron blocks. So that's about 4 blocks a minute. But one last thing before I go. Now that I have all this iron, let's head back to the birch farm and get all those hoppers in place. But anyway, with that all done, farewell.